You can also see, incidentally, on the display that a source UUID is also included here. That is the source that is currently on that display. Now, I want to change the source that's currently on that display. So, how would I do that? Well, I can just copy and paste this, but let's extract it properly. So, this is a list of sources. We can do a length of that list. We can see that there's only one item in it, and I'm going to pick the first item there, and it's that. And I'm going to get the source UUID, which is that little bit, and that's what represents this NASA movie here. So I'm going to call it source UUID equals that. Now I'm going to do something very similar with the displays, which we happened earlier. This time I will just copy and paste it. This is the UUID of this particular display. You may guess what I'm going to do here. I'm going to try assigning this particular source to this particular display. So there you go. That's the UID of the source, SU. There's the UID of the display, DU. And if we go back to our description of the API here, you'll see that there is a call called assign source. And to do an assign source, you need to give it two parameters. You need to give it a source UUID, the source to be displayed, and a list of displays, because you can assign the same source to multiple displays at once. So what I'm going to do is c.assign source, and what you need to do in these calls is explicitly put in the parameter names. Let me show you a little bit more of this here. So here we've got source UUID as the parameter name. You need to explicitly specify that here. Source UUID equals SU, and display UUIDs, plural, equals DU. Now we actually have to give a list of these, as I say, because there may be more than one, so I'm just going to put that in a list. And if I do that, I'll just capture whatever comes back. And you can see, if I cut to the screen here, that the new content is being loaded on the screen, and hopefully you can see a little bit of a movie of a space shuttle there. So that assignment was done. There you go, just a very few lines of Python code, and we have assigned a particular source to one of our displays in our organization, just as if we had dragged and dropped it on the screen. And if I look at the response that comes back, there's nothing in it. You might get an error back if, or an exception if this didn't work. If I invent a UUID here, or a display ID, let me do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the display ID, you'll see it raises an exception here, because essentially I've just invented a display and it'll tell me you can't assign a source to that display. So you could catch that exception in your code. I hope that is enough to show you that it's really very easy to find out about what your organization has, both in terms of hardware and of content, and put the content onto particular bits of hardware. There's a whole load of API calls which I hope are pretty self-explanatory. Things like create playlist, create a user, get the details of the organization, get the details of the user. Let me have a look here. For example, if I say c.get user, I can find out more about the user that I am authenticated with CODA as. Sorry, that's a very bad sentence. The user under whose account I'm authenticated on CODA here. You'll see I logged in as Peter Pan, first name Peter, last name Pan, and so forth. I hope that gives you enough information to get started on this. Remember again, the places you want to go to find out more are support.camvine.com, the knowledge base, and the API section, and also the readme.txt file that comes in the PyCoda source archive. Do please tell us about what you're doing with the API. We're always interested in how people are using Coda, and we'll try to help out if you have any problems. Just email support@camvine.com. And if you have a project that requires more developer effort than you have available, or needs our particular Coda expertise, please get in touch as well. Our professional services group has lots of experience in creating exciting new applications around Coda, and we'd be glad to help you out. In the meantime, we hope you have as much fun with the API as we do.